It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors Southwest.
Hi everybody, I'm so happy to have you along for this week's show. I'd like to welcome you in right behind me to a fantastic playground for beach activities, for recreation, for sport, for fun, and for fishing. This is Port Aransas, Texas, located a little south and east of Corpus Christi, Texas. It is situated in a perfect position for lots of great fishing. However, I will tell you that we have come here on absolutely the worst possible week you can imagine. Now, you can't tell it by the weather at the moment, but we have basically had to sit in our hotel over at the dunes for 2.5 days, waiting on the rain to stop and the wind to stop blowing. It's been blowing 35 to 40 miles an hour for 2.5 days. We've got a brand new Mako 21 LTS that we've been itching to get out in the bay and have not been able to get it in the water until right now. However, things are beginning to look up. We've got a little bit of a break in the wind. Hope we'll get out there and show you some fishing. It'll be a miracle if we catch anything. The tides are high, the water's muddy because of all this wind, but we're gonna give it the college try, see what happens. In the meantime, we're taking you around the region for your latest fishing reports from our insider reporter team from your favorite lakes, rivers, and bays. So right now, let's get the Mako out in the bay, get started fishing, and we take you back to the FSN studios for your weekend planner.
The Salooner tables are forecasting mixed conditions for weekend game fish activity. Saturday is listed as good, while Sunday is predicted to have poor conditions. Look for the best action to begin on Saturday afternoon at 1:30. The sun will rise at 6:20 and set at 8:30. And we had a new moon this week, so evenings will feature a moon that is only 8% visible. Stay with us, we have all your fishing updates from around the Southwest on the way. Plus, I'll return with Bassmaster Elite Angler Mike Iaconelli on the Whataburger Ask the Pro.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. By Mercury Marine, celebrating 75 years of marine excellence. By Stren Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability. By Tracker Boats, it's more than just a boat, it's a tracker. And by Fort Worth Nissan. Fox Sports Outdoors is powered by Fort Worth Nissan.
Whoa, what have I got? I got bit. Looks like a redfish. It is a redfish. All right, beautiful. Look at him in that sunlight, right over the top of a grass bed. There we go. All right. We caught a red, folks. Welcome back to the show. That fish took over 2 days to get here. We, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we have been battling the weather ever since we pulled into Port Aransas. First it rained about 2.5 inches, and then the wind turned around out of the north and blew 25 to 40 miles an hour for 2 straight days. But we were finally able to get out here. The wind's still blowing quite a bit, but our Mako 21 LTS was tough enough to get us out through some big waves, got onto some flats, and finally caught what is now my very first ever saltwater game fish that I've ever caught on my own. Nobody else in the boat, no help, no guides, no charter, no nothing. Just out here drifting a big flat, battling every kind of weather element possible, and that is a historic fish, my first ever saltwater game fish on my own. I've caught thousands of redfish and thousands of trout in my life, but never on my own. So I'm really proud of that fish. We're gonna let it go back. And gave me a good fight. And there, away he goes. All right, let's get you started with some fishing and lake reports in your area. Here's Cajun Phil and Kevin in Louisiana.
Hey friends, Cajun Phil here with your Fox Louisiana Fishing Report. I tell you what, I just got off the phone talking to Captain Kevin. He's down on Calcasieu Lake right now. He says actually they're fishing in the Intercoastal Canal, and they're catching a few redfish along the rocks right now. They're throwing small spinnerbaits up against the rocks, and they're picking up some pretty good-sized redfish right there. As far as the rest of the state goes, we talked to Towfield Bourgeois down in Lafitte, Louisiana. Towfield said his guides work in the Lafitte area. They're doing really well right now on redfish and on trout. As far as the freshwater scene goes, like I told you a couple of weeks ago, the brim are starting to bed up. Keep in mind, chickapin would prefer live worms. Bluegill, the red-breasted bluegill, they prefer crickets. Remember that if you're going after any particular species. Still catching them down here in Lacassine Reserve. We also have some good reports from Bundix Lake, where they were catching some big old brim on Bundix Lake. Black Lake, we got a good report of some brim and bass off of Black Lake. As far as the offshore fishing goes, I did call Captain Josh Howard. He's still catching lots and lots of big old yellowfin tuna. Most of the yellowfin tuna run anywhere from 60 to say 130, 35 pounds, but every once in a while I get one of them big old huge giants.
There's one, got it right up here by the boat. Not much of a trout, but it's the right species. All right, there we go. Got our first redfish. Now we've got our first trout. It's not the size we're looking for, but it's a start. It looks like we're in for a great day today, so something good's gonna happen today. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Port Aransas, Texas. Do a little more redfish and trout fishing. Don't go anywhere. Got him. Redfish. Just an average size red right there. All right, welcome back everybody. Fox Sports Outdoors. We're at Port Aransas today. After waiting out a terrible weather situation, we finally gotten on the water. There, little shrimp tail. And there's just a good fighting redfish. They've got to be over 20 inches long to be kept here, and that one would be, he'd be close. He might be 20. Let him go back. All right, well, let me give you a little bit of information about Port Aransas if you've never been here before. It's started way back in the 1800s, and they intended for this place to be a big port, but it became one of the greatest places in the world to catch a tarpon. Back in the 1930s through about the early 1950s, this was known worldwide as the tarpon capital of the world. In fact, the city was originally named Tarpon, Texas, before it was changed to Port Aransas. I got to go through the Tarpon Inn, which is a historic old hotel. It was the central nervous system for all the tarpon fishing back in the 30s and 40s. And if you come here, you've got to go through and see this. I took a quick little picture here. They've got a big wall where all the big tarpon that get caught, people take a scale off of it, write their name and where they're from, and tack it to this wall. And there's an entire wall covered with tarpon scales with people's names on them. It's really cool to see, plus all the old pictures from back in the 30s. This was an incredible place. Now the salinity of the water has since changed and the tarpon have moved on. It's a redfish and speckled trout destination right now. But anyway, it's got a lot of history, a great museum. Don't miss the museum if you come through here. Rick Pratt is the proprietor of the museum and the boat building company right next door where they build these classic old wooden boats. It's just a cool place. You can't miss all these sites in the history of Port Aransas. Hey, let's move along and get you some more local fishing reports.
Hi folks, on this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Dex, the most innovative truck bed storage system ever, we're on Lake Cedar Creek. Now, I talked with Chuck Rollins at BigCrappie.com, and he told me the crappie bite right now at Cedar Creek is on in the relatively shallow brush pile. That is 6 to 12 feet. Use your jigs and minnows, find 2 or 3 brush piles in a row, and work them in a circle. This one first, then the next, then the next, then go back, and that should keep you in crappie for most of the day. Now, bass fishing on Cedar Creek is boat docks, and then more boat docks. You can start your day early in the newly flooded grasses and bushes that are around the lake, and that'll be with a topwater or spinnerbait rattle trap type combination to get your day started. Then you'll want to go to the boat docks with your Texas rigs, jigs, and even swimming jigs along the posts and floating docks that you find there on Cedar Creek. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Decked, who reminds you, work smarter, play harder. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes. Now let's check in with Mr. Phil Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, Texas Outdoors Journal brings you this week's report and has once again been named the best major outdoor magazine in Texas. If you fish and hunt in Texas, you should be reading Texas Outdoors Journal. We'll tell you where to go, what to expect once you get there, and how to do it a little bit better. Pick up a copy of Texas Outdoors Journal on newsstands or subscribe at the website on the screen. Well, as we head into the month of June, which is arguably the best month of the year for fishing for speckled trout, even with the struggles anglers have experienced due to weather, this should be the month when fishing really takes off. Look for a solid topwater bite to headline activities. Try a Strike Pro Boogie Walker or tie stick. Plus, we hope some consistency will return to fishing patterns. On the upper coast, bird activity should increase. Look for seagulls hitting the water over shrimp in Sabine, Galveston, and all the way south to West Matagorda. Reefs in Galveston, Chocolate, and East Matagorda are holding fish and have given up some quality speckled trout on topwater lures. Bone silver has been a good color choice. Soft plastics, live shrimp, or voodoo shrimp under a rattling float have also produced. Now, anglers weighing the backside of Matagorda Island and in San Antonio Bay have caught some fish on topwater lures along the shorelines. Mud Island, Quarantine, Trailer, and around Allen's Bight are trying to turn on for those fishing croaker over the grass beds and potholes. On the upper Laguna Madre, the grass beds around the Crash Channel, Boat Hole, Pita Island, and the King Ranch shoreline have also produced trout on croaker. On the lower coast, Stover Point has given up some redfish on cut bait. South Bay has given up trout, redfish, and small drum on topwater lures and cut bait. Offshore, the red snapper season in federal waters opens June 1st and will only run for 9 days. This weekend, Saturday has a single high tide as the only tide of the day. This Sunday has a single tide schedule of 1 high and 1 low tide. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
Oh, I got one. Got a boat coming under the boat. Hold up, hold up. Wow, he just hit it like a freight train. There he comes. Beautiful. That's cool. Man, I was about finished with my cast and was about to reel it up, and that thing just came flying out of the water and just slammed it. Wow. There's another good redfish for you right there. One more back in the water. All right. This is my brand new Motor Guide XI5 wireless remote control trolling motor. You've probably been wondering what this is that's been hanging around my neck. That's the remote control. This thing will do all kinds of stuff. Not only can you run it on manual, guide it from anywhere in the boat, but you can push a button here and hit an anchor. You can stop yourself anywhere and it'll just hold you right in the wind, lock into a GPS coordinate, keep you right on a spot. It'll run in a straight line. It'll go whatever speed you want it to go. If you want to go a ½ mile an hour, you can click the cruise button and it'll go a ½ mile an hour. It'll do so much, I don't have time to tell you about it all right now. But this is my first experience with it. This is the saltwater version. There's a freshwater version as well. You can check it all out. Go to our website, click on the YouTube logo, then go to the how-to videos and you can see all the videos and all the information about the brand new Motor Guide XI5 trolling motor. You gotta check this out, it's fantastic. We'll be right back to Port Aransas.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Costa Sunglasses. See what's out there. By Luz, setting a new standard in fishing performance. Feel the difference. By Strike King Lures, #1 in fishing. By Aransas Electronics, find, navigate, dominate. And by Whataburger. Get your day started at Whataburger with the new jalapeno cheddar biscuit.
He's a freight train. Easy, work drag, work for me drag. Man, that one took me a little doing to get him even halfway under control. And I don't really have him all that much under control. Look at that gorgeous fish. gonna have to get the net for this one. What a great redfish. Look at this. All right. I caught a good one. All right. There we go. There's a nice Port Aransas redfish right there. What a gorgeous place this is. I cannot get over this place. We're not keeping redfish today, so we're gonna let that one go back. Watch him in this beautiful gin clear water. Get your bearings, darling. I want to show you something. We stuck the polarizing lens on the camera just so that we could cut the glare and show you all these beautiful grass beds and these sandy holes in the grass. And that's the way you fish for the redfish and the trout here. You drift along here in East Flats, off Ransom Island, off Dagger Island, a place called Stedman's. They're just beautiful, pristine grass beds running for miles and miles. And then they've got these beautiful white sandy holes in them, and the redfish and trout will stay around the edges of those holes. So all I'm doing is drifting down through here, making long casts at these sandy spots, and these redfish are just coming up and nailing it. All right, let's get you some more fishing reports right now. Let's check in Oklahoma with Gary Dollahan.
Hey, we've waited a long time for this time of year and the fishing is good. A great option for you is Grand Lake. Jump in the boat this afternoon with Ivan Martin, a longtime guide on Grand Lake, and also pro angler Andrew Upshaw. Ivan's the guy that brought the technique called dragging to Grand Lake, and basically he's using a 1/4 ounce round jig head. He's responsible for designing the LaRue salt flicker. He's tearing the legs off that, rigging it on that jig head, making a long cast on spinning tackle, and retrieving it with a steady reel retrieve, bouncing across the rocks and the pea gravel as it comes back in. So starting right now for the next couple months, a deadly way to catch the fish here on Grand. He proved it to us today. Also caught a really nice blue cat, also caught a big flathead, and snagged a big old snapping turtle doing that. Also right now, the crappie and the white bass fishing is good. Ivan had good success around the sailboat bridge pillars, catching crappie there, 12 to 15 feet of water. He says he's also catching crappie and white bass on the flats and the break lines and the humps in that same depth, 12 to 15 feet. Best crappie bait for him right now, the Bobby Garland Swimmer in the Pearl and Patriot colors. And as far as those white bass, a jig and spoon bounced on the bottom, 12 to 15 feet of water, especially on top of those humps. A great time of year to be fishing. Grand, an excellent choice, but one thing about it, you can't catch them if you don't go.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. By Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. By Motor Guide, trolling motors engineered for anglers. And by Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Welcome to the big leagues.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Whataburger Ask the Pro, where viewers can get insider tips from professional anglers. This week's question comes from Terry, who would like to know, what's the best way to rig a plastic worm? What type and size hook? For the answer, we checked with Bassmaster Elite Angler Mike Iaconelli.
You know, there's two ways that I love to rig a plastic worm. The first one is Texas style. And you know, Texas style is using an offset hook, and you want to pick the hook size based on the size of the worm. So a 5 or 6 inch worm, use a 2/0 hook. A 7 or 8 inch worm, use a 3/0 hook. And then a big 10 or 12 inch worm, use a 5 or 6/0 hook. The second way I like to rig a plastic worm is called wacky style. And all that means is you're taking a hook and you're rigging the plastic worm directly in the middle of the worm. And for wacky rigging, I like to use a 1/0 or a 2/0 offset hook. Rig it right in the middle, throw it out, twitch your rod. You're going to catch a lot of big fish.
Thanks, Mike. If you need help from one of the pros, visit our website and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit your question. Now let's see who wins a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
Hey, before we get to our Costa Catch of the Week winner, we are back at the marina at Port Aransas, and I can't tell you how impressed I was with our brand new Mako 21 LTS. We got in some rough seas out there, some big waves. That boat handled it all fantastic. I was extremely impressed, and we'll be telling you much more about our brand new Mako boat as the season goes along. Right now, though, I want to tell you something about the Mercury 4-stroke engine. Brand new engine that we used, and I was thoroughly impressed with it as well. I don't have time to go into the details, but if you want to see our video, simply go to the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, click on the YouTube logo and then the how-to videos, and you'll see all the reasons why I am a huge fan of the Mercury 4-stroke outboards like the 150 that we have on the back of our Mako. Now it's time for the Costa Catch of the Week winner. Congratulations to Andy McNew of Nacogdoches, Texas, showing a 7.5 pound largemouth bass he caught at Lake Nacogdoches. If you would like to have a chance to win your very own free pair of Costa sunglasses, just go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, click on the Costa Catch of the Week box on the right-hand side of the page, follow the instructions, and you could be our next winner. If you'd like to see all of the Costas, simply go back to the front page of our website, click on the Costa logo, and it'll take you to the place where you can see all of the Costa frame and lens styles, including the frame style I was wearing on this week's show called Rockport. Next up, it's time for the Academy Sports and Outdoors Right Stuff feature, the right gear to catch speckled trout and redfish here at Port Aransas. It all begins on the right side of your frame with the brand new Strike King Trocar Flats jig head. It's got a super sharp, high-end Trocar hook embedded in it, and it's available only at Academy Sports and Outdoors stores. On the left-hand side of the frame, it's the Strike King Redfish Magic spinnerbait. We caught several of these good redfish in that particular color. Then in the middle of your screen, we could not have caught these fish without the brand new Lew's Speed Spool inshore saltwater bait cast reel. It's geared for saltwater fishing. It's all beefed up with lots of corrosion-resistant parts on the inside, will resist years of saltwater use. You can see all the details at the Lew's website. Go to our website, click on the Lew's logo. Newton's third law of physics says for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. It's like a bouncing ball. Same amount of force going down propels that ball back up. Humans are a lot like that. We tend to live life in the extremes, bouncing back and forth from one extreme to the opposite. My life mentor, Alan Toppy, gave me some good advice years ago, and he says, life is best lived balanced between the extremes. Good food for thought. Hey, our thanks to the Port Aransas Chamber of Commerce and Ann Vaughn for all of the accommodations and all of the great treatment we received here at Port Aransas. They've got a super office right in town. They can help you on your trip here. Also, our thanks to the Dunes Condominiums right on the beach at Port Aransas. A beautiful view overlooking the beach. You can see all of their information on your screen if you'd like to book a room there. And our thanks to Charter Captain Frankie Eichholz for helping put us on all those good fish out in the Port Aransas Bay area. Hey, thanks for joining us. We'll be on next Thursday at 10:30 p.m. and Saturday at 7:30 a.m. And if that time is ever affected by anything, you'll be the first to know right on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. From Port Aransas, Texas, until next week, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.